Okay, so I wanted to show everybody this video. This is the U-joint that I had, and now this U-joint is made by GM, right? This is the next evidence video, U-joints, second gen Colorado. So anybody that's done U-joints knows it's kind of a superstitious thing with these pins. You can see this U-joint. It's maybe a couple months old. All the pins are there, which is weirding me out because this is the correct size U-joint for this connection right here. That's the rear drive shaft I've been working on. Now I took it off to put a new one in because it was popping. It was kind of catching when you would turn it. It was very stiff. It wasn't functioning correctly. So I'm looking in here, and all these pins are here. So I'm kind of tripping out now, wondering what's going on. Well, I remember when I installed it, it was kind of tight. And so I just started wondering, that one up there is a 3,000th of an inch different, larger than this one. And this other one that I had, the GMB, I had filed it down to just the right size, a little bit thinner than this one. And it fit in just perfectly. And when I was putting it in, I was like, what in the world? It wouldn't go in. I knew I had everything lined up. Well, when I took it back out, two of the pins were in the bottom, and one of them was broken. And I was like, wow. You really got to put a lot of pressure on a pin to break it. And I was pretty much almost 300% certain that I had put everything in correctly. And these pins in this U-joint, I had been working with them all day long, turning them over and stuff while I was grinding. And not one time did they fall out. And, I just started wondering because whenever I put that in, I did it right side up, I thought. But I started wondering, I've got to put this other one back in. I'm thinking supernatural stuff here, like there's some sort of ancestor thing going on. Like I've got somebody like that worked in the oil field that's like pulling me to mess with this, because I've been having a real time with this U joint and some real fighting with it, and I usually don't do that. And so just every time I do that, I always end up finding something. Like there's something pulling me to mess up here and there, so that I see something. It's weird. That's how my instincts are. Years and years and years of doing this kind of stuff with even bigger tools, right? For my, recent ancestors. So I was thinking, what if I sized this down right here, just about right there? See where that lip is right there? And you could probably logically do that and get away with it, supernaturally speaking, at least, I swear this is the one. Neatco. This is the AC Delco, I thought. Pretty sure. I'll show you online. This is the one that's, like I said, because I ordered the AC Delco Gold, and then the different one that I had on the front. Yeah, this is it. So my issue is, what if this weird issue, this weird problem or occurrence, deprivation, personal injury, gross, I don't even know how to say it, insult, by making these 3,000th of an inch different than those, to make everybody have to do all this stuff? What if they really did make this the wrong size? Like list the actual specs on the internet incorrect on purpose in order to cause a problem with that joint. Because when I drive my vehicle, I can tell there's something wrong with the rear U joint. You know, I can hear it popping. I'm pretty sure it's not that one. I'm positive I did that one correctly when I put it in. You know, it's everything seated. I didn't lose any pins on that one. I know. This one was the only one that was having issues. I mean, it was tight. Whenever you'd move it, it would catch, and that's a real big sign that you have a problem with it. So then I looked up. I was expecting to find a pin missing. There's not a single pin missing, and sometimes that happens with new U joints, but really it can happen if your U joint's too tight. Like if you have a wrong size U joint, um, and it's bound too tight right there where the clips are. So I'm thinking, I wonder if they actually did that on purpose, specifically to start a case like this, because they've done everything else wrong on this truck, almost like it's on purpose. What would stop them from doing that, especially when you have this weird little issue with this 3,000th of an inch thing going on? It would be impossible for somebody that was intelligent to ignore that, and then it'd be doubly impossible for somebody to ignore that there was actually a manufacturer defect with the specifications for that U joint right there on the rear drive shaft. Kind of, a really convenient place, name, and everything to put that. Real big deal there. So that's what I'm wondering here is what's going on, is we might have some serious problems going on. And, I was wondering, what if I got rid of this truck after I'm done with it, doing this work on it? What if I got rid of it? Because I do cases on everything. I like to keep things going now, even though none of them are working out. Now running the sovereign immunity stuff. What if I get rid of this? I mean, how is somebody going to test this? We don't have like a branch of our government that can like go find a Colorado and set up like an evidence room and test things. A lot of stuff probably would be found to be faulty if we had that. And GM's probably angry about that because none of their stuff, all these cases, nobody can do that. And so a lot of these defects kind of go unnoticed, or maybe sometimes, maybe in the past, when they were losing a lot of cases, they were getting like cleaned out by the courts, from these personal injury claims, and there was no way to test, like verify these claims that people were making because there was no like evidence room to test stuff in. And that's probably what started all this. Is there probably were quantum possessees in the courts and making these personal injury claims, and they were just ruling against GM because they could, not because it was an actual problem, just because they could, based on a subject matter jurisdiction basis. And probably GM got mad because there was no evidence way to test evidence to like bring the court in to look at stuff, or like have like a third party detective or third party forensic analyst do anything, because they didn't have that. Excuse me. Because they didn't have that capacity. So here we are, many generations down the road, and people are probably going insane over this. We're probably losing. We've already lost everybody, but we're kind of seeing like the sort of like the shell of the husk, the vestige still floating, down the stream of what used to be, proud America, after getting cleaned out, and seeing like the dying screams of somebody, trying to find some way to get people to get in their government and create the right departments to be able to analyze people's claims about, defective parts. So they probably started making this stuff defective on purpose, specifically to get this kind of stuff done. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to keep this drive shaft. I'm going to get a new one. I'm going to keep this. It's like going to be like the one part of the truck that I keep, just like the other part from the last truck. I had gotten a bunch of parts out of the engine, the piston rods, the the crankshaft clamps for the piston rods. That's going to be like a big, the other big part. And I'm going to put the original GM part on in the court, and show people the new one and the old one how they don't the part D is defective, with the manufacturer specs.